Good morning, afternoon, or evening, or whatever time of day you're watching this, Crafty Crafters. Today's episode is Season 1, Episode 5, and we are going to sublimate ink pens, an all-over wraparound of sublimation of ink pens. And those ink pens are sublimated to go with company logos, to something pretty that you want to go with your stationery. If you're selling them, after you print them, they go really, really fast. Trust me, 50 will go quickly. Before you know it, people love them for promotions for their businesses. So we're going to show you how to make one and how to sublimate it using a Oster oven. And once we've used the oven, we're also going to show you how to do one using a pen press. And the pen press is only for something that's going to go on top. But the oven is used when you're doing a full round wraparound. All right, let's go to the studio. All right. So here we are. We have our ink pen here, our sublimation pens, box of pens. And this box of pens also comes with a sleeve that we're going to use as a covering. That's going to, it's a shrink wrap covering, same size as the pen, so we don't have to cut anything up. And we take the pen apart, we disassemble, taking out the pieces that we'll need. And we have to pull this part of the barrel out. Now this is always a tricky part for me. Oh, there it is, it came out. All right, we pulled it all together as one piece. And now we're left with the clear barrel, as you see through it. Okay? Now, we wrap the barrel. We take our pen, our tape, that we never too far away from. You see I melted my little tape over here. It was an interesting time that was. All right, so we wrap it. And what I've learned through trial and error is that when you wrap this, make sure it's even, for one thing. But you want to be sure that you've wrapped it super tight. Okay? I do mean super tight. You want your image to be the same, but you want to wrap it all the way around. And you want that thing snug as a bug in a rug, okay? So it's going to take you a few pieces of tape here, starting at the bottom of the barrel and getting as tight as you can. You see that moved a little bit, meaning it's not as tight as it could be. And then you go to the middle of the barrel. And then you go to the very end of the barrel, making sure it's as tight as it possibly can be. All right. Once you've done that, you can seal the rest tightly as possible. Okay. Now, if you're going to do several of these, so this is like I sell them, and I sell more than 50 at a time, then you're going to make about 10 of these at a time and put them in the oven. Now, once you have done this, getting it as tight as you can, I put a piece all the way down. Making sure it's secure. And I put one more piece, leaving some of it hanging out over the edge. And you'll see why in a moment. Now I'm going to put the shrink wrap sleeve on it. Well, I didn't think that was going to be difficult, but I guess it is. Put it in this shrink wrap sleeve. Fits perfectly, should. And I'm going to leave a little bit of that tape hanging out like that, so that when it's time to remove this, I just pull that down. This is a bit excessive. I'm going to trim this a little. Okay. And I got that little piece of tape sticking out the top. Making sure I'm still in the camera's view here. Sticking out the top so that I'll be able to pull that back very easily. So now we're going to carry this to the oven at 375 degrees for 5 minutes. Okay? Now once you have it in your shrink wrap, you have your heat gun here, and we're going to heat it to shrink the wrap to it. I'm holding it by the tape piece that I have. And burn my fingers. And that gets the image closer to the pen. You don't have to worry about any bubbles and spaces and ghosting. Okay? So now that we have this all nice and shrunk up a little bit, we're going to take it to the oven again, as I said, and do it for 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 minutes. All right, here we are. We have our oven out here. I've taken it to the kitchen. So I'm going to bring it down to 5 minutes. You know, when it preheats, it goes to automatic default is 24 minutes. So I bring it down to the 5 minute mark. And so I'm going to give it, put that on there because I'm going to take a minute to put my glove on. And so here's what we do. Now that we're at our oven space, when it gets to 5 minutes, we're going to put our pen inside with the tape side up, and we're going to turn it at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So we're going to turn. So that's why I have it where the tape is also an indicator. And I'll say that you can watch that happen. And then we'll come back when it's time to flip it. And then we'll show you what it looks like once it's done. And now we're going to turn it at the 230 mark, using our gloves and just rolling it onto his back without burning myself up. Rolling it onto his back, okay? Here we are, we have 5 seconds left. And once we hear the beep, we'll take our pen. And our pen is ready. Be careful not to let your arm touch the door of the oven as it will burn. Then let's go back to the studio. If you recall in earlier episodes, I used my silicone candy maker, and I let my things lay here so the air can get up under them. Instead of buying a silicone mat, I just use that. So we're going to let that cool for about a minute. And once it's cooled, we will take the wrapping off. And you'll notice there are notches by where my tape was hanging out. Those notches allow me to just pull the wrapping right off. All right, the pen has now cooled to the touch. So we're going to look at that little piece of tape that we had right here at the top. And we cut notches on the sides, right there and right there. And now we can just take that pen and pull it down. Take that tape and just pull it downward. And we can get that pen, that wrapping off. And through the magic of cinema, we make progress. Yay! So we have our, unfortunately, we did ghost right there, as you see. But we have overall good coverage of our ink pen. And we put our pen back together. This going here. Then going there and putting that back together again. And now we have a beautiful pen. So what we learned from this is that in this area, right, this exact same area, we need to have taped that down a little closer right here and right here. And that's where some air got in. But other than that, we did a wonderful job with that pen. That pen is beautiful. That pen is beautiful. Hopefully I'll show you. We have the air right here and here. But other than that, it's good. I like it. So we have our own floral pen.